Welcome back. Today, we're opening the door on some truly chilling accounts. Stories sent in by people who've brushed up against, well, things that just don't make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're not just here to retell them. We're trying to piece together what these experiences tell us, looking for those patterns hiding beneath the surface of the fear.
Our goal is really to give you a direct look into the heart of these modern horror claims, analyzing how these phenomena seem to operate.
And the range is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got everything from creatures mimicking people out in the wilderness and near national parks to, everyday objects that seem to invite something terrible into a home, completely dismantling people's lives. We sort of collected the terror, and now we need to look at its structure.
Let's begin out there, in the wildlands. That's often where the deepest fears seem to take root, far from help. This first account deals with mimicry, transformation. It's from someone we're calling D. It happened near a large national park, an area that apparently already had a reputation for, strange sounds, people going missing, that kind of thing.
Right. D's story is from the mid-90s. He was in a treehouse, maybe half a mile from his grandmother's place, alone. Here's a coyote. Looks down, and there it is, sitting right at the base of the ladder.
But this wasn't just any coyote. That's the crucial part, right?
Not at all. It looked sick, had mange, missing a big patch of fur on its side, showing this pale skin underneath. But the real horror, D said, was its eyes.
What about them?
They were human-like. That's the quote. It wasn't behaving like a normal wild animal either, just sitting there watching him, snarling but making no sound.
Chilling. So what did D do?
Well, he was apparently pretty good with a slingshot. Felt threatened, obviously. He aimed for its eye.
Managed to hit it.
Yeah, got the left eye. It let out a loud yowl and bolted into the brush.
Okay, so threat neutralized, you'd think.
Would think. But as D was heading back to the house, he'd actually hurt his leg, tripped. On the way down, he glanced back. The coyote wasn't there anymore. Instead, he saw a human person walking towards him. But D described the walk as odd, just wrong.
Wow. So not just seeing it run off, but seeing it change.
Exactly. The thing he just injured was now taking human form and coming towards him. Instant confirmation that it was never just an animal. It only vanished when his cousin saw him and started shouting from the house.
And this dread, it stuck around, didn't it?
It did. Years later, Dee's cousins apparently corroborated parts of it. They saw the same coyote crucially, with that injured eye lurking around again. Dee himself is described as, a solid religious guy, not prone to making things up.
The psychological element there. The mimicry, the fake injury almost. It feels tactical.
It does. Why pretend to be a wounded animal? It makes you wonder. These accounts suggest the real danger lies in things that exploit your assumptions, blend into the background until they choose not to.
It's terrifying to think that kind of wilderness horror can follow you home. But sometimes it seems the house is the horror. Let's shift to that, properties that seem almost actively malicious.
Right, we have two really interesting cases here. The first one, a rental house that just radiated dread from the moment they moved in.
What were the signs?
Little things at first, but deeply unsettling, like finding a cluster of angel figurines arranged in a circle in the clubhouse, or finding old, decaying funeral flowers just stashed in the dirt floor basement.
Immediate red flags. And the atmosphere.
Changed instantly.
Yeah.
This happy, functioning family just spirals into this heavy, overwhelming depression. Serious marital problems started almost overnight. They weren't just unhappy, they were suffering.
And the animals picked up on it.
Oh yeah, that's fascinating. They had 4 dogs, a German Shepherd, a Pit Bull, a Chihuahua, and a Terrier mix. These dogs started forming a constant protective circle around the narrator. Wouldn't leave her side. Followed her everywhere, even the bathroom. Like they sensed an invisible threat.
But couldn't do anything about it?
Exactly. And it escalated. The oldest son saw a woman in a nightgown just staring in through the living room window. But the real breakdown happened with the father-in-law. His hallucinations became incredibly specific and terrifying. Screaming that the rooms were on fire, seeing a funeral procession in the yard.
And trying to poison food.
Yeah, with bleach. That's critical. The house wasn't just making them sad, it felt like it was actively pushing them towards destroying themselves.
So they got out.
They fled. And the moment they left, they described feeling this immense weight just lift off them, physically lift.
And the final twist.
A month after they moved out, the house burned down completely. And the fire investigators determined it started right at the breaker box, which is located in the children's bedroom.
Like the house consuming itself after driving them out. Just wow.
It really feels that way, doesn't it? A truly destructive presence.
Okay, so that's one model, outright malice. But the second house is different. It seems like it came with defenses already in place.
That's right. This narrator found a small plastic Virgin Mary statue hidden inside a bookshelf. It seemed to contain liquid, maybe holy water.
And the neighbors filled in the blanks.
They did. Confirmed the previous owners, probably from the late 70s, possibly Cuban or Caribbean, were extremely religious, had religious pictures floor to ceiling. And get this, they apparently used goat's blood to draw symbols on the windows.
To keep bad spirits out.
To keep bad spirits out, exactly.
Yeah.
So this house had a history of active spiritual warfare. The previous owners knew they were dealing with something.
But the defenses didn't hold, or maybe weren't maintained, because things still happen.
Things definitely still happened. Weird stuff.
Yeah.
Piles of dust constantly appearing in every room except the bedrooms. Physical manifestations too. All the kitchen and living room cabinets found flung open violently one morning.
And the coffee pot.
Yeah, the coffee pot apparently flew about 10 feet off the coffee maker and just smashed against the wall.
So, poltergeist activity, but with a history of attempted protection. What ties it together?
The organization behind it. This is key. The narrator found a hidden attic space, unfinished, and inside, every single small item that had gone missing over time, CDs, TV remotes, shoes, you name it, all stored there neatly.
So not just random phenomena, this was calculated. Purposeful mischief, gaslighting almost.
Precisely. It suggests an intelligence deliberately trying to unsettle them, mess with their heads. If you compare the two houses, you see these two different modes. Pure destruction versus slow, manipulative torment.
And there was a connection to deaths in the house, too?
A direct connection. Neighbors confirmed the previous owner, the old man, had died from cupped emphysema, choking, in the exact armchair that was in the narrator's bedroom.
Oh, wow.
And his wife. She died sleeping in her rocking chair in the room where the narrator kept hearing a woman's laugh. The presences seemed tied to the literal spots where they died, holding on to their territory.
It's a heavy thought, shifting from a place being the source of terror to the terror latching onto a person, or even an object.
Let's talk about the Collar dorm story. That sounds incredibly intense, close quarters stuff.
Yeah, this one gets very personal. It started subtly, like these things often do. On move-in day, the narrator kept seeing this tall, black, shadowy figure, just glimpses, corner of the eye.
But the feeling escalated quickly. She described the sensation of someone standing right next to her, screaming into her face, but silently.
Screaming with no sound. That's pure psychological assault.
Exactly. Designed to terrify you from the inside out. Then, it seemed to find a way to manifest more overtly through her boyfriend, Jay.
How so?
For months, he'd apparently wake up middle of the night and start speaking in this completely unknown language. She described it as aggressive, garbled, not just mumbling in his sleep, but a directed, hostile utterance.
That's deeply disturbing, an unknown language.
Yeah, it points towards something trying to communicate or exert control. And then came the peak event, the truly terrifying moment.
What happened?
One night, Jay wakes up, sits up, and just straddles her in bed. His eyes are wide open, but completely vacant. Staring right through her for several minutes. Didn't react to her at all.
Oh my God.
Then he gets out of bed, walks over to the desk, pulls the chair out, turns it exactly 180 degrees to face him. He then circles the chair 3 times, stops, and just stares intently at the empty seat for a full minute.
And then
just calmly turns around, gets back into bed, and goes straight back to sleep, like nothing happened.
that's not sleepwalking, that's a ritual.
A ritual. That's the word that comes to mind, isn't it? It implies deliberate action, purpose.
This wasn't random. It felt like the entity was using Jay's body to perform some specific, bizarre, and terrifying act. Maybe acknowledgement, maybe invocation, who knows?
It shifts it from just a haunting to something more like tactical possession, using a person for specific actions.
Right, which leads us to the next question. If something can influence a person like that, what happens when you bring an object into your home that seems, well, preloaded?
The Lamb music docs.
Exactly. This story is interesting because the narrator collected supposedly cursed items, but was actually quite skeptical. Until this.
How did he get it?
Found it under a bush outside of Walmart, of all places. A little porcelain lamb music box. And it had this handwritten note with it in red ink.
What did it say?
Take me home. I'm a good little girl, I promise.
Okay, that's instantly creepy.
Yeah.
And the activity started right away. Immediately. That very night. He heard this sound, described as the Grudge noise, that awful long croaking sound from the movies.
Yeah, I know the one. Brr.
Coming directly from the top of his fridge. It terrified him, and apparently his cats went nuts too.
So, immediate, specific, auditory horror. Then it got physical.
It did, and this is where it crosses the line into absolute terror. His girlfriend woke up one morning with 3 long scratches down her forearm, like cat scratches.
But it wasn't the cat.
He was adamant. The cats had been locked in the living room all night, confirmed. Something else made those marks.
Physical assault from the unseen. What came next?
More voices. First, just indistinct female voices. Then, very clearly, a little girl's voice, saying things like, "Hey, can I come in? Please, please let me in." Trying to sound innocent, pleading.
Classic manipulation tactic. Did he interact?
He tried not to, but one time the voice spoke right behind him, startled him completely, and just instinctively he responded, "Yeah, what's up?"
He broke the rule. Acknowledged it.
He acknowledged it. And according to him, that's when all hell broke loose.
The house just descended into non-stop chaos.
Like what?
Everything. Electronics flickering constantly, taps turning on by themselves, garbage disposal switching on, doors slamming open and shut, objects flying off shelves, and the really bizarre one, a pickled bird specimen he had on the mantelpiece just exploded.
Just
shattered.
Exploded. Utter chaos, the environment totally out of control, reflecting their mental state, probably.
Did they ever get an explanation? Did investigators come in?
They did bring in paranormal investigators, and their conclusion was maybe the most chilling part. They determined that whatever this was, it wasn't a human spirit. Not a ghost, not a person.
What then?
They described it as something else that was pretending to be a little girl to trick them, to gain entry.
Something else. Like, did they classify it? Was it demonic, elemental?
The term that comes up in the source relating to the investigation is elemental, suggesting something non-human, possibly ancient, that feeds on deception and the energy generated by fear, rather than just residual human emotion.
And this thing, this lamb, ended up with John Zaffis, the haunted collector.
That's the claim, taken by Zaffis, who, as you know, is the nephew of Ed and Lorraine Warren, which definitely puts it in a category of serious paranormal threat, far beyond a typical haunting.
Okay, these stories are intense. Let's shift now to what seem like outliers, cases that don't quite fit the mold. Starting with, well, something potentially not of this world.
Yeah, this is a really wild account from someone who spoke about an experience from their childhood. Finding a deceased figure under a log.
Deceased? Humanoid.
Described as humanoid, yes. Large, light brown, almost wood-looking, with very long, thin arms. And it was wearing clothing. A dark purple cloak with metallic engravings.
That's incredibly specific. Is there any corroboration or just the memory?
Here's where it gets stranger. The claim is that he managed to take a piece of the clothing, send it off for testing somehow, and the results allegedly came back, confirming it was made of no known earthly material. Unworldly.
Confirmed as unworldly. By who? That's a massive claim.
The source is specific about the testing confirming no known material matches, leading to the unworldly conclusion. Because of this, and because his house was apparently ransacked shortly after a frantic search, he ended up hiding the remaining artifact.
What was left?
A skinny, wrinkly hand and a piece of the cloth, hidden under the floorboards. It's an extraordinary claim, definitely an outlier.
Absolutely. Okay, and for the final account, something completely different again. Not terrifying in the same way, but still pushing boundaries. Contact with a loved one.
Yes, Uncle Dusty.
Yeah.
He died of an overdose, and there were questions, was it suicide or possibly even murder? The family didn't know for sure.
And the contact started soon after.
The night after the funeral, the narrator's daughter, who was only 7 at the time, saw her Uncle Dusty. He was pointing to his temple, suggesting perhaps how he died, maybe confirming it was self-inflicted. A gesture the little girl couldn't really understand then, but significant later.
But he appeared again differently.
Weeks later, yes. The narrator herself saw him, standing by her daughter's bedside. But his appearance was unique. She said he was made of swirling glitter, almost, emitting his own light.
Wow, not a shadow person, not a typical ghost. Glitter.
Swirling glitter. And his posture was protective, one hand on the daughter's heart, the other on her forehead. It felt benevolent, reassuring, very different from the malevolent entities we've discussed.
And these visits continued, providing comfort.
They seemed to. He appeared to the narrator when she was outside the hospital, worried sick, while her daughter, now 16, was recovering from tumor surgery. Just a brief, reassuring presence. And then again, years later, smiling in the mirror behind her shoulder when that same daughter was expecting her own child.
So these were visits offering protection and hope, a stark contrast to the fear and manipulation in the other stories.
A complete contrast, It highlights the spectrum of the unexplained, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Not all encounters are terrifying. Some seem genuinely protective.
So if we try to pull all these threads together, what's the main takeaway from these accounts?
I think the core pattern, especially with the more malevolent stuff, the cryptids, the elementals, the possessions, is that they rarely seem to use just brute force. It's more insidious. They hide. They mimic.
Hiding in plain sight.